We're back up this time with Washington Football Live talking about the X's, Julie Donaldson, Santana Moss. This is presented by Pepsi. Santana, we're talking about the free agency ads that they did this offseason. They didn't go in and bring in a lot of big names. They didn't spend a ton of money, but what they did is they brought in depth. They brought in players with the experience that can come in and contribute and kind of have to earn it and work for it if they're going to be able to stay. It's a different approach. Some people wanted the big sexy name, but you know what? You got to be able to evaluate your team and know which direction you want to go in.
No doubt. Getting the big sexy names not always good for your organization or your team. And I think these guys that they brought in will allow this team to have that depth that was needed, and also the experience of knowing what it takes to get to the next level, playing in the postseason and just having some veteran leadership.
So if we go through them, we're going to start with Ronald Darby. He's a local guy from Oxon Hill, Maryland. He played Washington 4 times, 3 with Philadelphia and 1 with Buffalo. They say he has a lot of upside here. He's spent a good bit of his career kind of being hurt a little bit, but he's a good player. He has the talent. It's a matter of having the opportunities and staying healthy out there to try and contribute.
No doubt. He had a strong start coming out as a rookie in Buffalo, dealt with some injuries in Philly. Just got back to, some of his, swag and some of the norm for him last season, coming off that knee injury in 2018, I believe. He was always around the ball, but just couldn't make the play all the time. He's a guy who can play in and outside, so I'm looking forward to seeing, what he can do with us, whether he will be an outside guy, or inside guy.
Well, Coach likes to move players around a lot. That's one of the biggest things is he wants versatility. So if we continue on the list, Kendall Fuller fits one of those. Like he was here with Washington before, but with the Alex Smith trade, he was left. He did win a Super Bowl ring last year with Kansas City, had an interception in the Super Bowl as well. But when he left, he always wanted to stay back here. He is from here as well. Coach says he wants to use him in many flexible positions, as corner in the nickel and free safety if he can. Look, we've kept hearing time and time again, Santana, how important that is for Coach.
Yeah, he's versatile. He's a guy that's very instinctive. He was a baller. He's a guy that he understands now what it's like to go to, play in the postseason. He played here on some pretty bad teams, went away from us and came back. You can always, use that from a guy that knows what it's like to be on both sides, and then he comes back to this side. So he can give us a big boost in that secondary, just showing those guys what it takes to be dominant in that area.
He's the one that they did go spend a good bit of money on. We're asked, should he be a starter? He said, yeah, for what he's doing with the bringing back, he should be your starting corner out there. Also added was another local guy, Sean Davis. He played at Maryland. He's had 4 playoff games for experience for him. And again, another versatile player. They say he can play the strong and free safety position. Yeah,
definitely. He's a headhunter. He's a guy that flies around with his body. He's another local guy that has experience of playing in this area. Looking forward to seeing what he can bring. He was a guy that got hurt last year in Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh defense actually, played better when he was down. So I'm not sure if that's, you can blame it on him or not. But he's a guy that has a lot of potential, so I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do in Jack Del Rio's defense.
Of course, you have Landon Collins out there, and many people want to, I kind of even hate to say this because he doesn't want to do it, but he's kind of like more of a box safety. But also when I hear a little bit about him, which you would think would be opposite, they kind of say a little bit box safety as well. But I know they're going to try and be able to see how he can kind of really grow in that position. So, but he does have a good bit of experience, 36 NFL games, but he's on, again, those 1-year, $5 million prove-it kind of a contract. Big hitter, has the speed. We won't really be able to know how a lot of these guys fit in because we keep asking the coaches to say once they put the pads on, we'll be able to tell.
Different
so we're kind of asking them to give us more of an evaluation when they flat out say they kind of can't at the moment.
No doubt.
Another player that I know they are really excited about bringing in here is Pierre Louie. They call him KPL. And look, he's already out there with the walkthroughs at least. He's working out with the first team in the linebacking room.
Well, he's been around, and Jack Del Rio spoke highly of him, so that allows us to pay close attention to him. But he's a special team guy, and he also brings a lot of depth in that linebacker position. They have a ton of guys at linebacker, so it's going to be interesting to see how his role plans out.
And we talk about experience again, 4 playoff games with Seattle and Kansas. They say he's dynamic, he's fast. He filled in for Chicago at the end of last season and really played well, showed that he can cover and as well bring the blitz. So right now they do have him walking through with the first team in the linebacking core. So it'll be exciting to kind of see where they move him around because they do want to try a lot of different players out. Again, you have to get Reuben Foster in the mix. There are a lot of linebackers in this room they're going to be mixing around and playing with, which isn't too big of a surprise when your head coach and your defensive coordinator both played the position of linebacker. And coming in with, if we're talking about experience, the most experience perhaps on the team would be Thomas Davis Sr. He was with Ron Rivera in Carolina. He spent last year with the Chargers, led them in tackles, 11 playoff games, and Super Bowl 50. He had a nice appearance there.
The ageless wonder, you know, he's the guy, he's the AP of our defense. He's a guy that you can always rest assured that he's going to go out there and give you his all. And he can actually be great, you know, be very vital, you know, to that linebacker core. He can show these guys what it takes to be a consistent pro. That's one of the things that you can put behind his name, consistency. He's done it for a long time. Even went over to the Chargers and went out there and led the defense, and they said he didn't have his best year. So
right.
I'm looking forward to him to have those kind of numbers here, and I'm sure we're not going to say the same thing.
When they're in base defense right now, they have had him with the first team along with KPL, rotating Cole Holcomb in there as well and John Bostic. But he said in sub packages he's with the third string, and he said, no. He's like, I'm going to make it really hard. I understand I'm in my 16th season. I'm going to make it really hard for them to keep me off the field because he still believes. And the scouting report I got him is that he still has the ability to play. But he says, whatever you need. If you need me to play a lot of time, I will be able to play it. If you need me here to coach up the young guys and be a mentor to them, he'll be that as well. So a really good add to the locker room. So if we're talking about the free agents that they did bring in, each one you'll notice, I said they have playoff experience. The defensive average age of years of experience is 4.8. For the team as a whole, it's 4.6. It's a relatively young team. How important, though, is it for you when you bring in that playoff experience to really kind of help these guys? Does it make a difference?
It varies. You know, one of the things that I've, you know, from my experience, and I only could speak on experience. I've been a guy that came from a team where I had a lot of playoff experience, and you can tell by just some of the things I did in my room alone. I can see the guys kind of like, you know, pay close attention to it, and then you hear the coach say, "Hey, when we do X, Y, and Z, watch Santana." You know what I mean? So that led me to know that, you know, they paid attention to how I'm playing, the tempo I'm going. So I think that trickles down. With these guys having that experience, knowing what it's like to be, you know, be a postseason team. Some of these guys have, you know, Super Bowl experience. It only can, you know, fits our team, you know, well when it comes to these other guys who haven't had that experience, watching them practice and knowing what it's like and knowing what it takes to get there.
You know, if you talk to coaches, they might say the experience is a little bit overrated because they just want to have good players that have the ability to do that. But I can kind of see from your point where you say, you know what, we can kind of understand because the player can tell you what to expect. A coach just wants the best players out there that can go and win. They don't care if you've been on Super Bowl teams. If you're a depth guy for them or if you're on the practice squad, I don't think it matters as much. But you're still learning from a player, from somebody who has that.
Yeah, all those guys matter to me when it comes down to it. Whether you was a guy that played a lot of downs or you was just a guy on the team, you know what it takes to up your game, you know, and that's something that you can bring to your core, bring to the room, bring to the team as a whole to let them know, hey, look, the way we going about this, we're not going to get to where we're trying to go. Let's do this and do that and change up how we're doing things, and just giving your perspective of what it took for your team to be successful and why y'all was able to, you know, have many playoff berths. So I think it varies. Like I said before, it varies. But coaches might not, you know, see that fitting. As a player, I saw it make a big difference for us.
What about when it comes to the speed of the game? Is that something where maybe you can help? Because I mean, when you do get to the postseason, is the speed that much different?
Those lights are much brighter, and the speed is totally different. I mean, it's do or die. You know, we can kind of, you know, compare it to how guys look at it in the basketball side of it. They have many games that they can play through to get to that next game. Football is just one game. You know, this is your championship game. You play each playoff game, even the game to get into the playoffs, like a championship game. So the speed is way different than what it is in the regular season because all the marbles rely on us going out here and doing our thing now. And we can't save anything for tomorrow. I remember being one of those guys in those situations where, you know, didn't know what it took. And when I got out there, I was shocked by just how the light shining that much brighter on me. But playing the game that you know and you love, you know what it takes to go out there and win. So these guys, once they in that moment, they know how to play ball.
What about just bringing the new faces in? When you do have your core roster, then you bring in the free agents and, you know, they're all of a sudden in with you. The challenge of just getting to know them, or how can they kind of help energize the team as well?
You know, one of the things about that, I mean, most teams have many guys coming in and out of the doors anyway. So I never saw that, you know, hampering, you know, how a team, you know, take on or handle their business. It's great to have those guys that come in and that can make an immediate impact. You know, I've been here when I got here. I remember making an immediate impact. The offense was different when I got here. Everyone told me that. I mean, you can see it in our play. Same way when I sat back and watched London Fletcher come here. The defense was different. You know, we had some success, but he was the guy that was always around the ball. So he ignited everybody else's fire and made sure those guys played, accordingly. So it just varies on who the guy is. But most of the guys that come in and play out the gate, those guys do set the tone for, whatever side they're on.
And a good bit of these free agents have the opportunity to be starters and playmakers within the roster going forward into 2020. Again, it's still early to be able to understand exactly how the rotations are going to go, but that's why practice is getting ramped up behind us. When we come back here in Washington Football Live, we're now going to talk about the O's and the free agents ads over there, and most notably what Kyle Allen. So we got to talk about that quarterback room with Alex Smith back, Kyle Allen, and Dwayne Haskins Jr. Stay right here.
This summer, it's time to get back outdoors. Your Honda dealer is open and ready to get you into a new Honda today. Enjoy the sunshine in the family-friendly Pilot or the rugged Passport. Visit the Honda Summer Clearance Event and get a great deal from Honda, KBB.com's 2020 Best Value Brand. Get a great deal on the Pilot at the Honda Summer Clearance Event today.
Miracles. What we deliver by delivering.
It is time for the O's presented by FedEx on Washington Football Live. Julie Donaldson, Santana Moss. One of the biggest free agent signings for this team was bringing in Santana Kyle Allen. You knew you had to have depth after Colt McCoy and Case Keenum left, and Dwayne Haskins Jr. now charged to pretty much take over the team. It's his job to lose, but coaches stress there's going to be competition, and you have to have other quarterbacks to be able to push Dwayne as well. Kyle Allen knows his system. How important do you think that is coming in here when you do know new coaching staff?
I think it's very important. I think, one of the bright sides of bringing the staff in here, they brought someone that when everything fails or at worst, we can always rely on a guy to get in there and show these guys what we expect out of them from that position. Right now, they have, a beefed up competition going on because of Alex being able to go out there and participate and compete for a job. But I think at worst or at best, however you want to put it, he's a great second or third guy we can always lean on. This is Haskins' job to lose, and I don't see him doing that.
They say Haskins has the intangibles and the higher upside, but Kyle Allen has arm strength himself. The turnovers were definitely a concern last season for him as he ended up starting for Carolina at the end. But they call him basically a classic drop-back quarterback. He's very smart, and he's very willing to try and help Haskins or anybody on this offense. The receivers, the running backs kind of understand what Scott Turner is trying to do, and he says he doesn't mind taking on that role. But I guess the question becomes, should Haskins not be out there, can you rely and trust him to be, I guess, your reliable backup? Because let's not say that there's going to be any COVID or injuries, but should that happen, he's got to be able to go.
I mean, at the end of the day, we understand how his season ended last season, and it wasn't that good. But he shows you signs that he can go out there and get the job done. So, you as good as your last outing. I understand that. I played this game, and most guys in that situation want to be able to redeem themselves and say, hey, give me another chance at it. I'm sure he put that behind him a long time ago, and he's looking forward to that opportunity that should he be thrown into the fire again, he's going to probably come out with a better outing.
It'll be interesting as well because as they are on the field behind us now, Alex Smith is also part of that quarterback workouts. He's just going to be doing individual drills until he'd be able to get further along, and the team says they can do a little bit more than that. But he is back out there, so it does increase the competition as well. So they brought in running back as well, Peyton Barber. Look, he did pretty well for them down in Tampa the past few years. He played in 4 seasons. He only missed 1 game, so he's very serviceable. And I know they're relying on him in this offense to really kind of be that downhill runner, to be able to run inside the tackles, and that's what you have for Adrian Peterson, but you have to be able to have somebody else that can get in there as well. Again, depth.
Yeah, when it comes down to it, I mean, he's in a great position now with Geis gone. When Geis was here, I was scratching my head like, where did he serve a purpose at? But now having that chance to make this team because of Geis being removed from the team, he's very reliable. He's very durable. So, we have a guy who we can, force feed when it comes to those first and second downs in AP, but you need that young guy that has shown you that he can stand the test of time and go out there and play when called upon. So I'm glad to see that he has an opportunity now to make in the squad.
If you want to know how it's going to go, we've been told multiple times, it's going to be running back by committee. That is how this offense is going to go in the running back room. They also brought in wide receiver Dontrell Inman. Now, Kelvin Harmon injured his knee, so he's out for the season. You needed an extra body, but what Inman brings is experience at the position. He is the most experienced. He's been in the league the longest, other than Cody Latimer, which right now is not going to be able to be out there. So at the wide receiver position, otherwise you have a lot of rookies. I was told if he can get them to week 5 or 6 and give those rookies a little bit of a chance to really catch up, then he's done his job.
No doubt. I mean, he's a guy that you can always say, hey, when in doubt, we can rely on a guy who's going to do his job. He might not, wow you in any way how he runs or his route running, but he's going to go out there, and if you say go 10 yards and turn around and catch this button hook, then he's going to do so. And he can show these guys that's how, what it takes to be a pro. I think we have enough talent around him that we don't really need much from him, but that leadership, and when we call upon him to go out there and make a first down, that he do so. So it's a great pickup.
How important is that for you, if you remember your rookie year when you were a very young receiver, to have somebody just kind of like to be able to watch and kind of bridge that gap until you were ready to step in yourself?
Well, I was ready to step in out the gate, end up getting hurt, so that was unfortunate for myself. But it was great having a guy like Wayne Kerbat, Lavernia's coach. Lavernia was only there a year, but you can tell he was way ahead of his years. And just having those guys to sit back and watch, they kind of showed me, like I said before, you watch the guy in front of you when you're not in. So I can never go out there and mess up because I'm watching these guys and I'm making sure that in order for me to go out there and play alongside of them, I have to do what they're doing when they're doing it right.
I remember covering Lavernius when I covered the Jets. I think I left right before you came in. We ended up going to Boston after that. So also on the offensive line, they brought in Wes Schweitzer. He's had 46 career games. He's started in 36 of them, so he's going to be adding a lot of depth to that O-line at the left guard position. Look, they like Wes Martin as well. I think there's a little bit of concern on maybe Wes Martin's size, but he is smart. Schweitzer has the experience and should be able to really challenge for that position. Yeah,
Schweitzer, he's just like Wes Martin. These guys can play all 3 positions in the interior, so it's great to have that depth there. Like I said before, I'm riding with, Wes Martin. I'm thinking that, he's going to be the guy for the job. But like we said before, having that experience, having a guy you can lean on, we was just removed from a year ago where we was getting guys off the street and putting them out there into the fire. So having that area beefed up a little bit, it's great to be able to come into the season knowing that you can rely on guys that you have already here.
They like the right side of the line. They say that's as formidable as they have seen anywhere in the league, but you have the left side that has a lot of question marks. So anticipate this being one of the position battles going forward at guard and tackle on the left side of the ball. Playoff experience. Adrian Peterson has the most with 5 games. Moses and Sheriff have 1. J.D. McKissick has 3 when he was with Seattle. And then you have Alex Smith coming into the equation. Again, activated off the physically unable to perform list, and he has played in 7 games. How much does experience really help when trying to get an offense together?
I think it helps a lot, but like I said before, it varies. It depends on, how those guys' mindset is. I think this coaching staff alone will help and allow these guys to know, what it takes to be ready. I don't see these guys coming in any game, not being prepared, not being mentally ready for the challenge. But having these guys that have had that experience elsewhere, now coming here, they can always, like I said before, it trickles down. It definitely trickles down because you're going to have those guys in those moments, those key moments, letting these guys know and say, hey, play close attention because this is what, should be expected for us to be that playoff caliber team. So it varies, but I think it definitely helps.
When it comes to getting ready for the season, no preseason, no minicamps, no OTAs. They are only just starting to go against each other on offense and defense. It's kind of fun hearing the cheers and the chants against them, and this is what the guys have been looking forward to. But why is it the offense takes so much longer to kind of get in sync compared to the defense at the start?
I always ask myself that because I played both sides before. But I think when it comes down to it, like I said before, I speak from experience. As a receiver, I need everybody to do their assignment. I need the guys up front on O-line to block for the quarterback. I need the quarterback to make sure that in that 3-step drop, he sees the field good enough to know that when I'm open, hit me now. And then I need that running back to make sure that if someone's coming off that black side, he's chipping that guy or making sure he's coming through. And I need my other receivers to make sure they carry out their assignment and be the decoy if need be. So I just feel like on the offensive side, it can't be 1 or 2 guys doing their job and everybody else falling apart. I need everybody, and I said that from year after year. When folks always ask me about my numbers, I'm like, well, if he can't get the ball to me, how can I do what I do?
And on defense, they're just going out there and they're making plays and hopefully stopping them. So look, the defense is the strength of this team right now, which is good for them as they start the season. And then hopefully we'll see at some point when the offense does get clicking. Look, it's not so much how you start, it's how you finish, right? As long as they do get in sync at some point. When we come back, we're going to see what is trending. And well, it's going to be all about Alex Smith and the reaction that he has received, not just from his family, from his teammates, but really from around the league on his miraculous return to being taken off the physically unable to perform list. Keep it right here.
A moment of joy, a source of inspiration, an act of kindness, an old friend, a new beginning, some welcome relief, or a cause for celebration. What's inside? Possibilities. What we deliver by delivering.
This summer, get back in the driver's seat. Your Honda dealer is open and ready to get you into a new Honda today. Like the versatile HR-V or the fun-to-drive CR-V. Visit the Honda Summer Clearance Event and get a great deal from Honda, KBB.com's 2020 Best Value Brand. Get a great deal on the CR-V at the Honda Summer Clearance Event today.
It is time for What is Trending, and this is where we bring in the third member of our team, Logan Campbell. Well, look, all the news and excitement during the weekend was that Alex Smith was activated off the physically unable to perform list. So he is only going through individual drills right now. And by the way, What's Trending is brought to you by Bank of America. Soon he will be, though, once evaluated, maybe a little bit further. Logan, a lot of excitement about his return. All right, we don't have Logan's audio right now, but yeah, Santana, if you were to sit in there and talk about him being able to come back, it's absolutely it's mind-blowing because I was even out there saying that I had heard that it's highly unlikely that he would be able to ever come back and get to football activities, but he is really proving everybody wrong.
I just think it's remarkable, you got to put yourself in those shoes. We was just talking about this earlier, and as a player, you expect to go through some of these situations. Now, this late in your career and at the level of what he experienced, I'm not sure if all of us can mentally, control ourselves and say that we have enough fight in us to come back. But to see this guy, go through 17 surgeries, almost, they say, hey, at one time, almost, he escaped amputation and his life. Everything was on the line for this guy. Now to see him out there and taking part in practice is just remarkable.
If you watch Project 11, and I'm sure if you were a fan of this team, then you did. It was emotional. It had me. I remember.
I teared up.
I did tear up, and even right now, I get goosebumps just even thinking about it. But I was at that game. We were covering that game when he got injured, and the stadium went silent. Joe Theismann was actually at the game, and we had him on post game with us talking about it. And he said it is just too eerie. It reminds me exactly of what he went through, and didn't play again. So Alex trying to come back here and play again. I keep asking because it doesn't make any sense. Keep asking, does he legitimately have a chance to get out there? And the answer I keep getting told now, Santana, as what I was told before was no, highly unlikely. Now I'm told there's a chance.
Yeah.
There really is a chance. And I get it. Players, you want to play, you want to go out on your own terms. No matter what, if he did or he does not, it is already automatic, I think, the comeback story, comeback player of the year.
Only God and Alex knows, but I'm just happy to see him out there. And if we can ever see this guy step on the field in a game, that'd be another story, another time for us to talk about something tremendous. So I'm looking forward to it.
All right, I'll be chatting with Alex Smith just as soon as practice ends, so you can watch that in the happy hour at 2:30 today. Again, absolutely outstanding. It's almost like I don't even know the words because it just blows my mind. We're watching him out here run around. As soon as we can show you that footage, guys, we're not really allowed to do that right now. We will bring that to you because we know you're anxious to be able to see exactly what is going on. All right, when we come back here on Washington Football Live, we're going to tell you what you can expect later today and throughout the week.
A moment of joy, a source of inspiration, an act of kindness, an old friend, a new beginning, some welcome relief, or a cause for celebration. What's inside? Possibilities. What we deliver by delivering.
This summer, get back in the driver's seat. Your Honda dealer is open and ready to get you into a new Honda today. Like the versatile HR-V or the fun-to-drive CR-V. Visit the Honda Summer Clearance Event and get a great deal from Honda, KBB.com's 2020 Best Value Brand. Get a great deal on the CR-V at the Honda Summer Clearance Event today.
We will be here with you every morning at 9 a.m. bringing you Washington football live. Look, I know you all want to be able to see video of the team, but we're not allowed to shoot team drills. We will show you individuals. We'll show you as much video as we can as we do go through camp, but there are a lot of restrictions out there right now. But it is kind of exciting to be able to hear the whistle and know that the team is coming together. Again, we'll be bringing you everything that we can. That will include Ron Rivera has a press conference tomorrow morning. You can tune in for that. And then as well, Alex Smith will be chatting with him as soon as practice is over. That'll be on our happy hour show at 2:30. What would be the biggest question you'd want to ask Alex?
How his mental is. You know, one of the things of being out there is one thing, but mentally as a player, you know, we go through a lot of that doubt. So I just want to know, you know, what was it like him, you know, leading up to that first day of being able to be active on the field.
So they said he looks good, but it'll be a totally different story when he has a whole bunch of bodies around him. And when you go up against this defensive front, there'll be some very powerful bodies as well. Come back here and join me at 2:30 for the Happy Hour show with Alex Smith. Thanks for joining us here on Washington Football Live and for being patient with us. Look, it's the modern world of Corona. Everything is through technology. We've been dealing with it today, folks, but guess what? We're doing our best again to get this to you, and hopefully everything will be taken care of tomorrow. We'll see you then.